Hi everyone, Sam Beckett here with Rhyme Signatures, the nerdiest music review this side of small-town Alabama on a balmy summer's day in 1932. And today we're going to be doing a review of the new Star One album, Revel in Time. For those unfamiliar with the Dutch multi-instrumentalist Arjen Lucassen, do yourself a favour. Stop watching this right now, but please do come back later, and get yourself to a record store, a streaming service, a musically knowledgeable friend's house, and listen to the album The Human Equation by Arion. You will not regret this decision. I was given the recommendation to do this from some anonymous internet person many moons ago now, and I can honestly say that doing so changed my musical tastes for the better. I had honestly been quite insular with what I had listened to up until that point, never really straying too far from what I was really comfortable with. But when I first heard this masterpiece of an album, I realised just how much I had been missing out on. Arjen has become synonymous with bringing together the creme de la creme of the progressive rock and metal world to act as an ensemble cast of his epic sci-fi saga of his Arion records, and of course his various other projects he's worked on through the years, such as Star One, Guilt Machine, The Gentle Storm, Stream of Passion, and Ambien. He's been doing this for quite a while now, so it's almost become something of a badge of honour to be featured on one of his projects. And when you look at the names of those who've worked with him, it's not hard to see why. You've got James Labrie, Michael Ackerfeld, Devin Townsend, Roy Khan, Tommy Karavik, Anneke van Giersbergen, Rick Wakeman, Jordan Rudess, Steve Hackett, Guthrie Govan. It is a staggering list of some of the absolute top-tier talent in the progressive music industry, and it absolutely blows my mind sometimes to hear all of these incredible vocalists and musicians in the same place. The Star One project was kind of broadly similar to Arion, insofar as that it was once again Arjen bringing folk together, but this time, rather than contributing to his own personal narrative creation, this was to sing good old rock songs about sci-fi films. And I have an enormous soft spot for the first two Star One albums. I mean, they're quite straightforward in terms of what Arjen has put out in the past, but they've always been one thing that matters more than anything else, and that is just fun. Star One has always been pure, unadulterated, geeky fun. I mean, how can you not wear a smile when listening to heavy metal songs about Stargate, Dune, Blake 7, and The Empire Strikes Back? And while the releases for this project have been kind of few and far between, with Revel in Time being the third full-length album under this name, each one of them has been nothing short of a blast to listen to. This new record has a little bit of a twist though, as just as the name implies, every song on offer here is about a film that has something to do with time travel. So you've got your obvious picks such as Back to the Future, Bill and Ted, Interstellar, and some lesser known picks, including some films I personally never really heard of before, such as Primer, Sapphire and Steel, and The Final Countdown. Never seen any of those. As is often the case with Star One, though, half the fun of listening is when a particular lyric clicks with you and you realise what movie that song is actually about. The roster on offer this time around is a fantastic selection of vocalists and musicians, including a few that I've been dying for Arjen to make that phone call to, either for the first time or simply for them to return. I mean, stepping up on this album, to name just a few, we've got Ross Jennings, Russell Allen, Dan Swano, Floyd Jansen, Michael Mills, Roy Khan, Michael Romeo, Bumblefoot, Steve Vai, Damian Wilson. Just god damn. It's one of the strongest lineups for me on an Arjen record since The Human Equation blew my tiny mind apart all those years ago. The songs on offer here, though, are a little bit of a mixed bag. Some of them I would call amongst the best that Arjen has ever written, while some are a little lacking compared to some of his earlier works. I mean, on the really good side, we've got the hard-rocking Back from the Past, Fate of Man, the title track itself, Revel in Time, Lost Children of the Universe, and my own personal favourite, Prescient. This track in particular is really something to me, as it brings Haken's Ross Jennings and Arjen regular Michael Mills of Toehider together. Mills is always a delight on these albums, his absolutely inhuman vocal range never failing to make me break out in a comedy grin, but pair him up with Jennings and let them harmonise off of each other, that is pure poetry, and it is a track I keep coming back to over and over. On the flip side though, there are some less good Tracks like Today Yesterday, the track that was inspired by Groundhog Day actually, and Hand on the Clock, neither of which, they're not particularly bad songs, no, by no stretch of the imagination, and they certainly don't disappoint in the vocal department, but they just feel a little also-ran and less inspired than the rest of the songs on the album. As an overall package, Revel in Time is definitely within the good spectrum of Arjen's extensive discography, and it just goes to show that this Dutch wonder can still write some of the best prog metal out there. Has he done better than this? I mean, yes, absolutely. Comparing this album to the likes of The Human Equation, Into the Electric Castle, Guilt Machine, or 010110001 feels a bit unfair, given just how absolutely monstrous these albums are in both scale and scope. But if you can't compare a record to an artist's other works, then by what other metric can you really measure it by? It is extremely safe to say, though, that this is easily tied with space metal in terms of comparing Star One for Star One. And for me, it is leaps better than Victims of the Modern Age, which is easily for me the weakest of the three albums released under this banner. Arjen is hardly a faultless musician. He definitely leans on some tropes quite heavily, for better or for worse, and you can pick his style and identity out from a lineup a mile away. Although this isn't necessarily a criticism, I do feel it a little amusing that I can recognise his playing style, composition, and tone so immediately, whereas it often takes me a bit longer with other multi-instrumentalists. But, that being said, like a favourite book or film, sci-fi film perhaps, sometimes all you want is what you know brings you comfort. And Arjen's work is exactly that. It's a cosy book by the fire, a phone call with your mum, meeting up at the local watering hole with the gang. It's safe and it's reassuring, even if it's not really going to surprise you anymore after all these years. So that's Revel in Time, really. Definitely worth a listen, and the guessing game of what movie is this about is just as fun as it ever was. Just don't expect Arjen to push the boat out creatively here, and you're likely to have a blast with this one. This is all, of course, my opinion, as you know, so tell me what you thought of this record in the comments down below. If you have anything you've listened to this year that you think I should check out, then let me know and I might get around to giving it my own thoughts. If you like this video, please do share it with anyone you think might enjoy it. Please consider subscribing for more content and click that like button, YouTuber comment. Woo. Until next time, keep your rhyme signatures odd.